Hi there, and thanks for joining us at Amateur Reviews. My name's Natalie, and this is Gabby, Dulcie, and Victoria. Today we'll be looking at films that make us think about the future and our now. First up, we've got Mad Max Fury Road. Followed by that, we'll have 2001 A Space Odyssey, then Blade Runner, then Winter's Bone. Let's get started.
So, our first film features Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy in a furious chase across a post-apocalyptic wasteland in Mad Max Fury Road. The heroine Furiosa rebels against an oppressive dictator, Immortan Joe, by taking his prized possessions, his 5 wives, to search for safety, and is promptly chased by Immortan Joe's war boys.
We are not things! We are not things!
Where is she taking them? I want them back!
So what did you guys think about George Miller's fresh take on Mad Max?
Well, his latest installment of Mad Max features not Max himself as the main character, which is what happened in all his previous films, which I think is a rather interesting deviation from what he's previously done. Obviously, knowing what happened after that, a lot of his longtime fans especially didn't like that. Because, oh no, Max wasn't the main character, we're all mad, essentially, was what happened. But I think it was an interesting deviation.
Yeah, I agree. I think in the past Mad Max movies he takes more of a hero role, whereas this one sort of just has like a he's almost like brought to the same level as the female sort of like the female distress kind of.
So it's sort of more equal, like he's kind of almost
there are no
damsel in
females
distress.
in distress. It's just sort of like a situation of men and women, and then just sort it out.
I agree. In films, especially even today, it's not very often where you see a female as the lead role, especially when it's such a role that's based with action. Normally you would see a female in this role but being a damsel, whereas very based around her being the one that's going to save everyone, which is a nice take on it.
She's sort of like a Mad Maxine shark.
It's very refreshing.
It's a lot of empowerment for women. I think watching this film as well, you know, you kind of go into it not really knowing what to expect.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that like the past films didn't have that, because I know it's like the past film with Tina Turner, like she obviously holds a really high like position as a woman in the society of the old Mad Max film, but it's just like this one is Mad Max's character is just sort of like young character.
And it's interesting that it's titled Mad Max, even though, you know, he's not really the main character. Obviously, he's kind of more quiet.
Which is probably what misled a lot of his original Mad Max fans. They were expecting a Mad Max based movie.
They were expecting Mad Max, and they got a Mad Furiosa.
Next up is 2001 A Space Odyssey. The famous work from Stanley Kubrick wowed the whole world when it was released in 1968. The story of evolution shows mankind's search and the attempt to understand the bizarre monoliths that keep appearing throughout the solar system. Astronauts Dave Bowman and Frank Poole, played by Keir Dullea and Gary Lockwood, are on a space mission with an AI named HAL 9000, whose paranoia threatens to disrupt their duties.
Just a moment.
Do you know what happened?
I'm sorry, Dave. I don't have enough information.
Made radio contact with him yet?
The radio is still dead.
Hello, Hal. Do you read me, Hal?
Do you read me, Hal?
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What I find interesting about 2001 is Stanley Kubrick's accuracy in what he saw as future. You know, like he had shots of people using these tablets that are like the iPads now, and he had them Skyping people back home on Earth. I mean, that's all like physical, it's reality for us now. Back then it was just an idea that he portrayed. You know,
yeah, that's pretty crazy, especially for a film released in 1968.
And the fact that they, that he was able to foresee or create this image in his mind that is now in reality. It's just
Yeah, it was a very realistic sort of take on the future. I didn't feel like he went too overboard. Even the filming, the long shots sort of like really capturing the essence of reality. Like the real world, you have these meaningless shots because in reality, if you were filming some everyday activity, it would be really boring. So when he's jogging around that space station and you get bored just watching it, that's sort of like capturing reality.
The way Kubrick combined it, of this everyday going for a run thing, but he's in space, it kind of makes it both real and surreal at the same time, I guess.
And relatable.
Yeah. And I almost find it calming, those long shots, you know, it's very like, it hides what's to come, you know, the drama, basically the intensity.
Yeah,
of
it
what's
sort
to
of
come.
like adds suspense.
In terms of the fact that the robot, what was his name?
Tell,
Yeah.
9000.
The fact that he was able to almost give himself an entire presence in his own, it's quite realistic in that sense as well, in the way that we are really progressing in technology now in terms of Siri and
Artificial intelligence. Yeah.
I mean, because, you know,
Relying-
Hal's like Siri on steroids, basically.
yeah.
Blade Runner is set in 2019. We meet Harrison Ford as Rick Deckard, who is an ex-cop specialising in executing replicants, androids that are almost identical to humans. He's brought back into the field to track down some of the latest violent escapees who've come back to Earth to find their maker.
Questions? I just do eyes. Genetic design. Just eyes. Time to die.
You're a damn one-man slaughterhouse.
I'm going home.
So, Blade Runner, who do you guys think is human in this movie? I mean, because, you know, it really raises the question, like, what does it mean to be human?
Yeah, exactly. And I think also what it raises is like our emotional connection to artificial intelligence, or like the technology that we use today.
Struggled with in the movie was that my ability to judge characters based on their personalities. And you saw Rachel when she's first introduced, you think she's human, and she's not. She's actually, you know, the latest androids, replicants to be produced, and she has this cushion of emotions to stop her, to make her think she's human. And so it messes with me. Like, they certainly had some sense of companionship.
They make the emotion obvious.
And, you know, with robots and androids, they're considered machines. They're not programmed to develop emotions, but they have.
I think Ridley Scott really that was sort of like the point of difference in the film, technology, and then there's conscious technology, which is like just a whole other level.
I agree, especially on the level with her not knowing that she is in fact an android. It's almost as if you know when someone is explaining something to you and you know it's wrong, but because they truly believe that something is the way that what they think it is, it starts to convince you. It's almost like this.
Yeah,
in
well,
the
that's
film.
the thing. You can't really distinguish like humans from androids when you're watching Blade Runner, which is sort of like what you posed at the start. Like, what is it to be human? Like,
Is it like, you know, human nature is like this real broad spectrum, and it's like
we're
clearly
all like programmed in some
Yeah.
way, which I think is what the movie is like saying.
Another thing that we do really have to consider while watching the film is that it is set in 2019. It's 2017 now, and it's in terms of humans' capabilities, it's not that far off.
I mean, considering how well hidden these, you know, these replicants are in this world. Like, that one android gets a job, and she's at this club dancing, and how they can't tell that she's an android, and how are we to tell as well? Yeah, if it wants to.
Winter's Bone follows Ree, played by a fantastic Jennifer Lawrence, a 17-year-old girl who is a sole provider for her younger brother and sister. With an absent father and depressed mother, Ree is taken aback when a police officer comes to her house and tells her that her father has put the house up for his bail, and if he doesn't turn up to court, it will be taken from them. Ree continues to persist amid a town of people that refuse to give her any answers, is suddenly over her head, and is dragged into a world full of crime.
I'm Ree. My dad's Jessup Dolly.
You ain't here for trouble, are you?
I got a real bad need to talk to him. How long before we get kicked off our own property?
I reckon y'all got this place about another week.
The law found Jessup's card. Somebody set fire to it. He wasn't in it.
There's people going around saying you best shut up. People you want to listen to. Get out of the truck. Put your hands where I can see them.
Is this going to be our time?
So with this film we can really see that Winter's Bone is set in a dystopian now, not a dystopian future.
I feel like in terms of what you're saying, even if it was in the future, we wouldn't be able to see it in terms of Ree and her mother and her two younger siblings, because they're living in the middle of nowhere, 3 or 4 houses within the same region. No matter how much technology and the world progresses, there will always be crime and death, and that's something that we can really see coming out in Winter's Bone.
It's quite contrasting to the other movies that are like set sort of surrounding all this technology, and then you have Winter's Bone that has zero technology, but it definitely does have that dystopian now, as you said. Her father cooks crack. That's definitely one form of a dystopia, and it probably is the most realistic form of dystopia today. We don't live in a world of Blade Runner or 2001 Space Odyssey. We can relate to the dystopia that we see in Winter's Bone.
Like the other things about dystopia, you usually have maybe 2 competing classes, the upper class, and then you've got the lower class down below, and they're the ones that are underprivileged. They're, they're fighting to survive, and they're also generally being controlled somehow. And you get those sort of aspects in Winter's Bone, but also in a very abusive sense, to make it more like, you look at it and you see this could be real life. Someone could be living like this right now.
One thing that I did want to touch on in terms of Winter's Bone is the set design and the theme that really carries across it, and that is that it's just very dark. When you're watching it, you feel almost cold because of the lighting and the scenes that they're taking part in. You can see their breath fogging up. You can see that they're on water in the scene where she has to go and retrieve her father's hands, and that was another feature in the film that I really liked.
You get the sense of that dystopia again coming through. So she's being controlled by her duty to her siblings because of her. And so she's prevented from being involved in activities such as education that will help her and her family gain a better life.
Yeah.
Which is a very dystopian thing to happen.
What I like about all of these films is that, they make us think, they challenge us, and they bring up new subjects and new visions, basically, like these future movies, like, wow, is that really what could be, or like, what does this mean, what does that mean? But a lot of them don't answer those questions, and they let us come to our own conclusions.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the most controversial part about all the films, is that there are so many different interpretations. They do all have their similarities, but you can take something different from each one. The artificial intelligence in 2001 Space Odyssey and Blade Runner, they raise the same sort of questions, and our reliance on technology and where it's going to go. But then you have Mad Max and Winter's Bone, and they're sort of like the bare opposite, where like technology's gone, it's just stripped, like there's nothing left, and society is just left to sort of eat each other alive.
I completely agree with what you're saying, especially these films are not the kind of films where you can just watch it and you just understand it straight away. They are films that haunt you almost, and you really do think about them after you've seen them, which is a rare quality. that's one of the things that I really enjoy, especially with older films.
It's cool to look back and see these films that were made in like 1968 and 1982, and these same ideas are still being recycled into movies today, but with like a whole new fresh perspective.
Yeah, the thing that drew me about all these movies, like Natalie said right at the beginning, was that they challenged, I think, and they did, like you said about it almost being haunting. There were things about each movie that haunted me. They were really important things, like Max, how the women were treated as almost basically breeding machines. And when you've got the Space Odyssey where Hal is being unplugged, it's the sort of, has he become self-aware? Is he alive? Is this murder? There was that sort of, what are you, like, where is the grey area? That sort of morale. The replicants start showing human characteristics and emotions, and you start to wonder, do they become sentient? And then, if they're sentient, are they human? And therefore, should we be treating them like humans?
Where is society going? And it's like, they're all different depictions, and it's just,
wonder.
Don't know. So it's quite interesting being able to watch the movie, like 40 years after it was made, what they like have the answers now.
You look at them all and you see society in various versions of the director. For example, George Miller decided society is going to look like this, a barren wasteland controlled by one guy who owns all the water. And then you've got another version.
You've got Ridley Scott's
version.
Which is basically set now.
Yeah.
So we get to sit here and say,
no, that didn't happen.
Not yet.
Which is also funny because it kind of looks at how, we're watching like 2001 and it was so long ago, and back then that would have been like, wow, like this is incredible. But now we watch it and we're like, oh yeah, this is like every other space we watch. But then we realise that it's like, the one that paved the way.
Another thing that watching these films actually does for you is it makes you think about what the future is going to turn in yourself into, in your own mind. You can think that it's either going to turn into an absolutely technology savvy world, or it's going to be more like Fury Road and turn into a complete wasteland. Where
what would you prefer?
Probably technology savvy.
But
I feel like if you're living in a wasteland, then it's going to be hard to get water, it'll be hard to get food, there'll be
which is everything they face.
They both settings kind of appear to be wastelands to me.
They're different types of wastelands, but they're wastelands.
Either way, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll wait and see.
Cool, so I think that's all we've got time for, but thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed.
See ya.
Bye.